Hi everyone, good afternoon. We are going to start the webinar shortly. We'll just wait for 2 minutes for everyone to join and then we'll get the webinar started. So let's get started. Hi all, good afternoon everyone, and welcome to today's session on Global Accessibility Awareness Day, also known as GAAD. So GAAD is actually celebrating, this is the 15th anniversary. This is the 15th year where we are actually celebrating this. See, Global Accessibility Awareness Day is an annual event which is focused on digital access and inclusion for people with disabilities. It encourages all the developers, designers, organizations, and everyday users to think about how the technology can be made usable to everyone. So, accessibility today is not just about compliance, it is about inclusion, it is about giving equal opportunity, and also creating the digital experience that everyone can use, regardless of their abilities. So today, the technology that we are actually working on, right, plays a very important role in our daily lives. And it is a responsibility as professionals, including me, the organizations, and the individuals to ensure that no one is left behind. From accessible websites and the mobile apps to any inclusive design and user experience, every small effort can create a meaningful impact. So today in this webinar, we are actually talking about why accessibility is important, what are the legal implications of the accessibility, and also how the accessibility can break for users. That's where we also have a platform that we can actually show you how you can automate the entire testing of the accessibility. So today webinar is an opportunity for all of us to learn, share ideas, and understand how accessibility can improve usability for all the users, not just people with disabilities. So we are celebrating at FireFlink Global Accessibility Awareness Day today. And I would like to thank you for all of you for joining this webinar in spite of your busy schedule. And I hope today's discussion inspires us to build a more inclusive digital world. So let's get started with Sudhir. in my panel. He's the expert and the head of accessibility unit for us, and he's also a pretty good subject matter expert on accessibility, who will take us through on why accessibility is important and what are the legal implications of that. And later, Suresh, who is our senior solution consultant, will also show you a demo of how FireFlink supports accessibility. And many of you are already using FireFlink platform. That's where you can actually leverage FireFlink without paying any additional cost. The accessibility is actually built in within the platform itself. And I request all of you to use the chat window during the session for any kind of a queries. And at the end, we have a question and answer session where we will respond or we'll ask the panelists to respond to the queries as well. So once again, thank you. And I will hand it over to Sudhir to get started with the accessibility. Sudhir, over
Thanks,
to you.
Surya. Thank you, Surya. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very happy Global Accessibility Awareness Day to all of you. I'm Sudhir, working as the Accessibility Testing Practice Head at FireFlink, and today I'll be walking you through why accessibility is important and the legal landscape around it for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so before we start, why accessibility matters, right? So let's just look into some of the numbers around accessibility. So, as per the WHO reports, around 1.3 billion people across the globe live with some form of disability. So, that is approximately 16% of the global population, meaning one in every six people around the world. So, if you look at it, this is the world's largest minority. And if you look at the annual spending power of this particular group, it is approximately $13 trillion, which makes it a massive consumer segment from a business perspective as well. So we have to understand that accessibility is a fundamental right which enables everyone equal access to information and digital experiences. Now, that said, is it just ethically imperative? No, it is also legally imperative. So we have laws and regulations around the globe mandating digital accessibility, and the cost of inaccessibility can range from $3,000 to $6 million per case. And if you look into the business angle of it, it not just improves accessibility also but also usability for everyone. So it also helps in building trust for your customers, and also helps in building your revenue and also the brand reputation. So these are some of the benefits or the landscape of why accessibility matters. So from a business standpoint, like we discussed, it is definitely going to help the business improve in its revenue and also brand trust. But if you look into the next slide, if you look into the numbers, right, the 71%. So as per the survey report from Clickaway Pound, which is a research team from UK, and also from Section 508 of the US, the reports indicate that 71% of the users with disabilities leave a website that is not accessible. So they don't file complaints, they don't call support, and they'll just leave. Now, just imagine a scenario where a visually impaired person trying to apply for a personal loan online but is unable to submit the application because the entire website is not accessible with screen readers, which is a assistive technology for visually impaired users. So, what happens next? The person most likely will choose another bank or another website which is accessible and inclusive, and a platform where they are not felt as left out. So accessibility is not just about compliance, it directly impacts customer trust, user retention, and also business outcomes. Let's move on to some interesting data on what breaks for real users and how bad it is, right? So if you look into the data here, so WebAIM is a leading accessibility organization that conducts surveys on millions of homepages every year. The report that you see is what the 2026 report looked like. So the first number, 95.9% of websites actually detect WCAG2 failures on their homepages, which is about 56.1 average errors per page. And now the interesting part, the 96% of these issues are from the below listed six categories alone, meaning we have a lot of issues coming from some known categories, yet the incompliance or non-compliance for accessibility is still there. And if you thanks to AI and vibe coders, the page complexity has increased by 22.5% from the last year, and obviously missing out accessibility in those functionalities or pages that are implemented. Now, if you look into the top WCAG failure types, which are like the top six categories that we just discussed, the first one is the low contrast text, which affects people with color blindness or low vision. And then we have missing image alt text or missing form labels, which impacts screen readers who are visually impaired. And empty links, empty buttons, and missing document language. These are the outcomes of non semantic and inaccessible code implementations. So, if you observe these things closely, these aren't rocket science fixes. These are the fundamentals of accessibility, yet they are still commonly missed. So, if you try to put it in a different way, it's like building a beautiful building without a ramp at the entrance, creating a barrier for wheelchair users. So, the technology here already exists. What's often missing is the awareness on accessibility. So what I'll quickly do is I'll quickly share my screen and I'll walk you through the issues encountered by an actual screen reader user. We'll take a look at one very small example. I wouldn't take much time, but I just want to showcase on how actual issues are being encountered by screen reader users. Okay, let me start sharing my screen. Hope my screen is up. Yeah, I'm assuming screen is up for everyone. And what I'm showcasing here is a demo application, banking demo application, so which has 3 sample pages on the website. So what we'll try to do here is we'll pick up a simple use case. We'll go to apply loans homepage, apply loans page. And first, let's analyze the list of form fields that are there on the page. The functionality of the page is the user has to fill in applicant details uh, and fill in the loan requirement and click on submit application to submit the application, right? This looks pretty simple, and everything is self-explanatory here. The user will come and enter full name, mobile number, email address, and all the rest of the details and submit the application. But what if a visually impaired person who is using screen reader? For people who don't know screen reader is a kind of a text to speech software which enables the screen reader user to hear to the content that is there on the screen, right? So in this example, I'll be using a screen reader called NVIDIA, which stands for Non-Visual Desktop Access, a free desktop Windows-based screen reader. So what I'll try to do is I'll navigate the entire application using a screen reader, the real life of a visually impaired person. So just a heads up, if I launch NVIDIA, it will start reading all the content. It will be a little overwhelming for people who are not used to it, but just bear with me for some more time on this. Okay, I'll launch NVIDIA. Hope my audio is also up.
Apply for personal loan banking demo app. Google Chrome window. Apply for personal loan banking demo app. Banner landmark visited.
So if you hear and also
Up navigation land.
There is this NVIDIA speech viewer that I've also brought up, which shows what screen reader is reading. So essentially, whatever is being displayed in the speech viewer is being heard by a screen reader user. So imagine a visually impaired person using screen readers to access the content and apply for a personal loan. So what generally screen reader users use is using a keyboard only. They will navigate to the entire screen. So what I'll try to do is I'll use tab key to navigate to the interactive elements. So I'm pressing tab key here.
Navigation landmark home visited link.
So it said home. There will be some additional content that will be announced. Please ignore for now. We'll get into details of it when we are actually into the training mode and all.
EMI calculator link.
So it went to EMI calculator on my second tab.
Apply loan visited same page
Apply
link.
loan.
Main landmark. Edit blank. Has autocomplete.
Now, if you heard it clearly, for this corresponding field, it just said edit blank. Visually, a normal person can understand that user has to enter full name here because the full name label is visible. Now I'm tabbing again.
Edit blank.
It just said edit blank, but visually we can see that it is a mobile number field.
Edit blank. Has
And here also it just said edit blank. So what is the barrier here? Just try to understand that the barriers are being created because of inaccessible code here, just for the visually impaired users. Because not for normal users, we can see that the labels are there, they are associated with the fields, and they can enter the relevant information. But for screen reader users, it is just announcing edit blank, edit
edit
blank,
blank. Edit has
blank,
auto.
which doesn't give any context to the users on what information needs to be filled. So what is the problem and how to address this? Now, if I just
Visit it
inspect it,
inspect. Apply for personal loan banking demo elements grouping.
so there are multiple ways of
Grid.
providing accessible labels to it. I'm just showcasing some of it. The real life scenarios might be completely different. Your project to project or application to application examples might be completely different. This is just for the demo purpose. Okay. So here
Panel application form
we have
/ label.
And also we have
Full name.
input ID, which is a full name, but there is no association to it.
Full
What I'll do
label.
is I'll just create the
Edit greater
association
blank.
here.
Less. Edit as a DevTools document. Element R equals quote F U K K K L L N M E quote L F
So
quote
created
space
the association. You don't have to
space
worry
equals
what I'm writing and all.
page
This
DOM
is
tree
just for
view.
educational purpose. Now, if I tab onto
Apply
the
for
full name
person
now,
banner main landmark. Full name edit blank.
now
Has
if you
auto
can hear and see in the speech viewer, it says full name edit blank because I've created a label for association in this field.
edit blank.
Now for this particular
Less
mobile
doc
number
type
field,
HTML.
what is
DevTools
missing,
doc
if you
main
see,
toolbar navigation landmark mobile
there
number.
needs a simple ARIA tag that is missing. Okay, so it can also be implemented using label
Type.
for, but here I'll
Cut,
try
add a
to add an ARIA
Dev to
attribute.
A dash L B L equals quote B I E span U M B R quote. Less in apply bookmarks.
see.
Apply for main landmark.
So it says
Full name edit has
autocomplete
autocomplete blank.
Edit represents input field. Autocomplete is the tag that is there in that, but for that particular field. Blank is the value of it.
Mobile number edit blank.
Now, even for this, mobile number is there. So what I wanted to convey as part of this is sometimes fixes are not that complex or tricky. It is just the awareness that is missing. We have the technology already. People need to be aware on what are the barriers caused because of inaccessible code and how an actual user is impacted because of it. Right. So with that, I'll
Show
just
speech. Stop sharing.
and I'll get back to the presentation.
Show hidden icons. Caps lock Q. X. Search show hit no NVDA and exit. Exit and OK apply.
Yeah, coming back to our slides, we just saw that fixing accessibility is not rocket science. It is all the mindset that needs to be improved. And for rest of the things, definitely FireFlink can help in the testing part. So as we move on to the next slide, we'll try to understand what are the legal and landscapes for global and India regions. Right. For global, as we know that we have ADA, which is Americans with Disability Act. Under ADA, we have Title 2 and Title 3, which talks about jobs and employment and public places to be accessible. As per the recent amendment from Department of Justice, all the digital products are also included in that. And there's been a compliance cutoff date by which requires April 2027 for the large entities, and for small entities, April 2028 is the compliance cutoff date. And similarly, on European Accessibility Act, we do have enforcement already done. So June 28, 2025 was the compliance cutoff date. And if you look into Irish specific accessibility regulation, They are very strict on these compliance matters, and they also impose imprisonment for about 18 months for non-compliance. And similarly, UK, Canada, and Australia also have their respective legal mandates. For India, though it started slowly, it is uh, comparatively it is slow, but it is still catching up on the legal landscape, and there have been a lot of enforcement and compliance dates that have been set. If you look into the legal foundations for accessibility regulations, we have RPWD Act 2016, which is Rights to Persons with Disabilities Act, and GIGW 3.0, which is Guidance to Indian Government Websites, and BIS, which stands for Bureau of Indian Standards. So these are the legal foundations, but what about the enforcements? Enforcements are also live as part of the report, as per Feb 2025 report. Around 155 organizations have been penalized so far. And if you look into the compliance dates, SEBI has already set up compliance cutoff dates. And by July 31st, 2026, all the regulated entities should submit their remediations and defect fix report, compliance report. And they also specifically are asking for IAP certified audits. And if you look into RBI, it has already mandated all its banking channels to be accessibility compliant. And even for MITI, which is Ministry of Electronics and Technology, they have also mandated for digital compliance for all the GIGW's websites. So if you are doing business as part of India and developing any BFSI related application, and if it is not working with any of the screen readers that we discussed, we are already in violation. Let's move on, like why testing matters and what are the challenges to it. So we have to understand that accessibility isn't a one-time checkbox. It requires continuous testing across SDLC. So it has to be a combination of these three layers that are listed down here. Automated scanning, which catches 30 to 40% of the accessibility issues, like missing all text, ARIA label, or form labels, all these kind of issues. And it has to be combined with manual expert audits and assistive technology testing. By assistive technology testing, I meant the screen readers or the screen magnifiers, switch control, all these things. So a robust accessibility testing strategy should be a combination of all these three. Only one will not suffice here. So as we know the benefits of accessibility testing, why accessibility? But why isn't everyone doing it already? There are certain challenges to it. So let's look into some of the challenges, right? First one is the complexity of the testing. So your application might be cross-platform, cross-browser supported, or globalization and localization is also included. And you might be supporting multi-platforms like multi-channel, PDF, mobile, web, all these things add up to the complexity of the testing. And the second one, resource constraint. Definitely there is a shortage of accessibility skilled resources across the globe. And for accessibility testing, you need people who can put themselves into the shoe of an accessibility tester and test it. And lack of WCAG understanding has also been a major gap here. And how the legal compliance things are catching up, and how's the pressure mounting up, we have already seen it. And the fourth one, tools and overlay challenges. So we have to understand that none of the tool can promise 100% accessibility compliance. Whatever overlays that are there, which kind of promise false sense of accessibility compliance, they themselves have 1,000 plus lawsuits on them. So now that we understood why and how part related to accessibility, let's see how FireFlink can address these challenges and support in your accessibility testing journey. So with that, I'll hand it over to Suresh, who will do a quick demo using FireFlink, and we'll see how it is going to work it out. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Suresh.
Thank you, Sudhir. Hello, everyone. Great to see you all here. So let me quickly show you how accessibility testing is usually done manually versus how can we make the same thing more simple. We can simplify how the same thing more like simplify using FireFlink. Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, I believe my screen is visible. Thanks to Sudhir for providing this application. So basically here I do have one sample application. Let me use this application for the demo purpose. So when it comes to web application, right? So most of the times when it comes to accessibility, normally teams spend a lot of time validating things like heading structures, form fields, or generating WCAG reports, and lot many validations. And here, just for example's sake, let's assume that I wanted to validate heading structure respected to this web application. So when it comes to like validating heading structure, usually we will inspect the tab manually. So I'll do right click. I'll click on inspect. So looking at the code, just by looking at the code, I wanted to validate whether the heading structure is proper or not. So basically, this is going to be one of the most difficult job when it comes to verifying the structure. So in order to simplify this, we know like nowadays technology got evolved. Along with that, the technology for assistive technologies like technology for accessibility also got evolved in order to validate heading structure respect to this approach. So it will be more difficult. So what we have done, like what the technology has evolved, we come up with something called as browser extensions. So we have a lot of browser extensions. Using browser extension also, we can able to validate the same thing. But when it comes to the browser extensions, we have to rely on multiple extensions. For example, if I wanted to validate the color contrast, I wanted to explicitly download some other third-party extension. If I wanted to, like respect to the example, if I wanted to validate heading structure, I wanted to rely on some extension. So when it comes to these extensions, we have to rely on multiple, more than one extension in order to perform the validation. And now, so let's say that I have installed multiple extensions, so I wanted to perform the testing. Now, respect to the specific screen, assume that I wanted to perform a check respect to the form fields. So reason I wanted to ensure this web application is accessible for everyone, irrespective of their disabilities. So thanks to Sudhir again, because when it comes to the PPT explanation, he told clearly about NVDA, which is nothing but screen reader. So basically the job of screen reader is to identify whether all the elements are labeled properly. Because if the labels are if the elements are labeled properly, then only the screen reader can able to read it out. So like when it comes to his demonstration, he clearly showed that when the initial setup, screen reader could not able to read this as mobile number. It just read it as blank. Now to ensure this, though we have a assistive technology like screen readers, which is advanced, though we have to rely on some of the manual validations. So in this case, I don't want it to launch the screen reader because it might be disturbing for us. But I'll explain you how it works. Though we have the screen reader, we wanted to launch the screen reader, we have to validate one by one. We want to validate elements one by one. And let's say I have done with the testing. Now I'll move on to some other task. Again, I wanted to revalidate the same screen. Now the job is more. Every time I have to keep on repeatedly testing the same elements again and again. So though the technologies are evolved, there are difficulties in order to handle these technologies when it comes to the repetitive approaches. And most importantly, though we have the technologies evolved, there are higher chances of human errors. So to avoid all these things, to avoid all these extra installation of the third-party extensions, we are using FireFlink. Before I navigate to FireFlink, let me talk about one more thing. So let's say I don't want to use multiple extensions. So we have one option. We have a lot of tools available in the market. Let's say one specific tool can able to generate the WCAG audit report. Though, like as mentioned by Sudhir, though we have those technologies, those automated scanner can give around the 30 to 40% of bugs. And remaining, we want to rely on manual inspection. For example, let's take a keyboard. If you wanted to validate whether the keyboard or all the elements are functionable using keyboard only, or let's say you wanted to identify whether there are no keyboard traps, again, we wanted to rely on manual approach. Now let me move on to FireFlink. Let me showcase how can we able to make all these things easy within a single platform. I'll go to FireFlink. And talking about FireFlink, I already created some modules, some scripts in order to utilize it for demo. Now I have created a module called as accessibility demo. Within that, I categorized into three: one for web, one for mobile, and one for PDF. Let me open web. And now talking about FireFlink, most of us already using FireFlink, and we know FireFlink is mainly focusing on functional testing. Along with that, we can also perform performance testing, database testing. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start adding the functional step. Let me click on plus. And we know when it comes to FireFlink, we are using NLP techniques. NLP stands for natural language processing. The benefit of NLP is no need to write a single line of code, meaning just by using a simple English language. For example, I wanted to launch the browser. I want to open the browser. I'll just type open. With the help of this smart NLP search, I can just search for the required step. It will suggest the NLPs. And the most important part when it comes to NLPs, not only the automation test engineers, even the manual test engineer can able to automate easily. And respected to accessibility. So when it comes to this NLP approach, right, with the help of this, we are not going to do only a standalone accessibility testing. We are going to perform accessibility automation testing alongside your functional testing. As you can see, I'm adding open browser, which comes under functional testing. I'll click on add and continue. Now I wanted to maximize browser. I'll just type max. I'll add it. Now, what is my requirement? I wanted to perform accessibility testing related to this application. Let's say I don't want it to go one by one. I wanted to get the complete report from FireFlink. So what I'll do, I'll go back to the FireFlink. Before that, I'll copy the URL. I'll go back to FireFlink. Here, as usual, I'm going to search for navigate to URL. I'll click on it. I'll paste the URL. I'll click on add and continue. Now, from here, I'm going to start the accessibility testing. Now, what is my requirement? I don't want one by one step. I want the consolidated report. And what kind of report I do want? I want a WCAG report respected to web. But I don't know which NLP to use. No need to worry. I'm going to type, meaning I'm going to search report. I'm not even typing WCAG report. I'm just typing report. And I'm going to give a space. There are a lot of reports, right? I want web report. Now, I got multiple NLP suggestions. Here, I'll choose the first one because the category of this NLP fall under web accessibility. I'll click on it. This NLP requires some input. What are those input? When it comes to WCAG standard, we know there are a lot of standards, but when it comes to India, we are focusing on currently 2.2. And the currently in India, most of the places, not only in India, most of the places, we are focusing on AA standard. I'll give AA. Now, how do I know which kind of the input we want to provide, which font we wanted to follow, like which case we want to follow? No need to worry. Just hover the cursor here. We can able to see within FireFlink, we do support all WCAG standards. So 2A stands for 2.0A. A is nothing but the conformance level, single A. And 2AA stands for 2.0AA. Similarly, when it comes to 2.2, it's nothing but 2.2 AA conformance. When you have the cursor here, you can able to easily understand. So in my case, I'm going with 2.2 AA. Then, so since it is a web, I wanted to give the screenshot depth. So when I have the cursor here, you can able to identify, you can able to see. If I give 1, the maximum input I can give 1 or 2. If I give 1, it will perform the deep scan, meaning all the elements will be thoroughly scanned, which may take 10 to 15 minutes. But due to time constraint, I'm not going with 1, I'll go with 2. Because if I enter 2, we can able to easily identify here, it will perform a limited scan. I'll go with 2. And then our notice is required. I'll make it more simple. So what it means, when it comes to accessibility, we all familiar with that. We know there's something called as good practice. I don't want to go with good practice as of now. So then what I can do, have the cursor here. It says true or false. If I want good practices, meaning notices, I can give true. But in my case, I don't want, I'll go with false. And talking about time, I'll give 2 minutes. What are the number we are going to give here? It will be in form of minutes, time in minutes. With these 4 inputs, we can able to generate a WCAG report for the web. Now, when it comes to this NLP, it is going to generate the report. And once after generating the report, this NLP has to give me back the report, right? In order to save the output file, we wanted to choose whether I should choose this file, whether I wanted to save the file in local path or in test data. If you wanted to save this output folder, output file in your local path, click on local path, meaning in your local machine. But in my case, I'm going to use test data. And we know test data is nothing but it is going to act as a repository for all the files. And I'm going with the test data. I already created a folder called as output. Using hashtag, I can able to get all the folders, available folders. I'll go with output. Now, here's the catch. It is going to generate the report. It is going to keep it in folder. But within this folder, I may have multiple files. I wanted to know what is the name of the file. For that, we have return value. I already created a variable. Let me use the existing variable. If you want to create new, we can able to create it. I'll click on web report. Now that's it. With these inputs, I'll click on add. Now, if I trigger the execution, I'll get the report. But always remember, when it comes to the automation standard, we have to add close browser. I'll add. Now, before executing, I wanted to highlight few things here. So when it comes to the what are the approach I followed, this exactly sounds like functional testing, isn't it? Exactly, yes. Now, the benefit of this approach. When it comes to accessibility, there was a myth. Only dedicated accessibility team can perform accessibility testing. And we've been like having a thought saying that we want certain accessibility experts to perform accessibility testing. But with this approach, FireFlink allows any organization who does not have an accessibility test engineer, even they can able to execute accessibility automation testing. Now, with a single click, I'll click on the run button. Let me trigger the execution so that I can able to show you the result. I clicked on run button. So it is awaiting client acknowledgement. So let this execute. Okay, we'll do one thing. Let it execute. Meanwhile, I already have the report with me. So instead of waiting for the execution to be done due to time constraint, we have less time, right? So due to that reason, let the execution be happening in the back end. Meanwhile, I'll show the existing report of web. So I'll go with the web report. So you can see whatever the URL we provided in order to generate the web report. I can able to see it here. Percentage. And right hand side to it, we can able to see errors, warnings. So currently under errors, I got some errors. Have given false, and I got no no violation under the notices because I have given false. And talking about errors, before that, you can able to see whatever the input we provided while performing web platform. All these informations are available handy in FireFlink reports. The benefit of this, I wanted to separately log these data into Google Sheet or the Excel. But respect to the FireFlink, we are generating a report. And talking about this report, it is 100% accurate or what are the standards you follow into your organization. If you wanted to input those ideas into this report, yes, it is possible. And due to these reasons, we call FireFlink as a highly templatized platform. And let me scroll further. I can able to see issues. So when it comes to human testing, talking about accessibility, we are having around 87 criteria. Though one is obsolete, let me consider 87. And we can't remember all the 87 criteria, right? So due to that, FireFlink also adding the criterions. We are not just having issues, we are mapping the issues with the criteria. Along with that, you can also see elements. Let's say with this report, how the developer can able to understand which element having concern. Under the elements, I can able to click on this icon. Let me enable this. We can able to see there are some element. There are some element which is having some concern. Similarly, the UI, it has image. If you're unable to identify, no worries. We have provided XPath. We didn't just like give the code snippet. We provided the XPath. Developer can copy the XPath. He can go to the UI. He will get the exact element. Along with that, we have provided detailed information. And we can able to see we have the node for the respected element as well. And if you wanted to export into CSV, even it is possible. We can click on export CSV. It will export. Web accessibility. So when we were talking about the headers, right, I wanted to validate headers. So how can we do it? Not only the headers, it can be anything. It can be your keystrokes. Let's say I wanted to launch the screen reader. I want to perform transcription. I want to check all the files form fields, your scenario can be anything. For each and everything, we do have the solution. So let me go back to the scripts. I'll go to scripts. Let me click on web. Now within the web, I wanted to verify header, or I wanted to fetch all the headers. I'll click on add button. Let me search for the remaining NLPs. Let's say I wanted to fetch headers. I'll just type headers. You can able to see fetch headers from the web form. This NLP will help you to fetch the headers from the web form. I'll click on this NLP. All I have to do is I have to provide the screen reader exe path. Okay, when it comes to installation part, right? Being a human, we will install, but we will not remember the path. So no need to worry talking about FireFlink. If you don't remember the screen reader path, no need to worry. Give a space. Upon giving a space, FireFlink is like smart enough to identify the exe path, the file path of the specific application. And then right hand side, I can be able to see required page count. I wanted to fetch form field respected to one page. I'll give one page. You wanted to give the required page count. And then here, when it comes to the file save directory path, I don't want to save it in local. I'll go with test data. Same like the previous NLP. So when it comes to accessibility or it comes to any functional testing using FireFlink, the advantage here, if you know one part of FireFlink, another part will be more easy. For example, when it comes to the fourth NLP, we got to know some inputs and we got to know which are the data to be passed as input. The same approach is helping me here as well. I'll give some variable to hold the written data. Let's say headers, add. Now this NLP will fetch all the form fields. Now you wanted to verify whether there are any issues with headers. Again, we have one more NLP. Let's say headers. I wanted to verify. I'll type verify. So we can see multiple NLPs. Verify if there are issues in headers. I can use this NLP. Now, when I kept on adding the NLPs, some of you may have a question within you. So in order to perform accessibility testing, why I should add these many steps one by one? Let me clarify you. I don't want you to assume it. Let me clarify you. So talking about FireFlink, we wanted to keep on adding NLPs. Yes, it is true, but these are one-time job. Let's say I wanted to perform validation, meaning I wanted to perform revalidation. Refer to the example which I discussed earlier. When it comes to revalidation, right? Manual approach, or it can be using any assistive technology, it will be the more difficult part. We wanted to perform the testing. We wanted to store it in some of the Google Sheet or the Excel sheet, which is time consuming. But within FireFlink, only once you call all the steps, we can execute this for n number of time. And each time when you execute, all your data will be preserved. You can choose your path, you can preserve the data, and it will also act as a traceability matrix. So this is respected to web. And are we settled with web? The answer is no. We are not settled with web. So let's say I wanted to perform mobile. I want to perform mobile accessibility. Yes, it is possible. Talking about mobile. So there are certain difficulty when it comes to mobile accessibility. Let me add the NLP first. Same approach. I'll click on add step. I'll search for mobile report. So seems like my network is a bit late. I'll use this NLP. I'll click on add. Now let me try to execute this NLP. So let me click on run. I guess today I'm having some network glitch, but don't worry, I'll cover it. We already executed and we have all the required data for you. Now talking about the mobile, what are the difficulties I have discussed? When it comes to mobile, we wanted to listen to the talkback. So like whatever the data it is reading out, I wanted to listen to it. I want to focus to it. I want to focus on it. After an hour or two, if I wanted to remember the like talkback data, or if I wanted to store the talkback data, I want to manually enter. I want to manually note it down. Let me terminate this. Let me open the report. You will have better clarity. So when it comes to mobile, I have taken one like this demo application. Like I have taken Megdi application. So when it comes to talkback, right? We wanted to hear, because when it comes to the visual impaired people wanted to use mobile phone, we wanted to hear whether the talkback is properly reading all the elements. Now, in order to verify that, we wanted to focus on it again and again. We want to keep on hearing it. After an hour or two, if I wanted to recall the data, not possible. I wanted to rely on some Google Sheet or Excel sheet. But talking about FireFlink, we have talkback here for each and every element. We have talkback. So let's say that not today. I wanted to check tomorrow the same. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. Data and the reports are preserved. Not only that, if you know, we have accessibility issues. Talking about most of the applications, we feel those applications are having less issues. But with FireFlink, we can able to identify the maximum number of issues. So respect to it, we can able to see color contrast issues are 13. And not only that, we can also get the reading order. So these are respected to mobile. And are we settled with mobile? Again, the answer is no. We do have PDF. We can also perform PDF accessibility testing. And talking about PDF, what are the testings we can able to done? So when it comes to PDF, the most important part, we wanted to verify the tags and we wanted to verify the reading order. Most importantly, when it comes to PDF, right, the most difficult part, PDFs will have multiple pages. Being a human, though you use any of the assistive technology, we wanted to keep on focusing, and we wanted to, if I'm having more than 60 plus pages, I wanted to keep on focusing, I wanted to analyze, I wanted to understand it properly. So the time consuming is more when it comes to PDF. Now, respected to FireFlink, just to try to search for NLPs. Now, what I'll do, just for example's sake, let me search screen reader. You can able to see all these NLPs are related to screen reader. If I type just PDF, or if I just type WCG standards, we have a lot of NLPs respected to PDF, right? So to avoid that, or to eliminate the difficulties in order to understand or the read PDF, we have delta comparisons. No matter how many pages we have, FireFlink can able to transcribe the entire PDF data into one text, where you can able to easily identify. You can able to perform the reading order testing. Also talking about the delta comparisons, let's say I have a PDF one which belongs to the previous version, PDF 2 belongs to the current version. There are very minimal difference. When it comes to humanize can able to spot the big difference. But talking about the minimum differences will be more difficult. But FireFlink can able to spot that as well. Just for understanding purpose, let me showcase some of the report generated for PDF accessibility. Now, talking about this PDF accessibility, I have taken some sample PDF which contains 3 pages. Each and every information will be available respected to this report. And again, talking about any report, it can be web, or it can be mobile, or it can be PDF. What are the reports we are displaying to you? These are 100% customizable. If you're saying that this report is not suitable for your organization, you want even more, even less, yes, we can able to do that. And respected to this specific report, the FireFlink has identified 35 issues. Respected to all the 35, we are having 21 failures, can be classified as a pure error, and 14 manual. So when it comes to manual, for example, let's say I may have some placeholders, I may have some images or the logos, but it may have some alt text. But machine is unable to understand whether the given alt text is proper or not, meaning it is matching their data or not. It can able to validate, yes, there are certain data, but how do it know whether it is the actual one which you want? So in that case, we'll provide manual. You can refer. If you feel it is a bug, you can raise it. Or if you wanted to ignore, yes, you can ignore it. And then we can able to see the standards. We follow 2.1, 2.2, PDF UA. And if you see, we can also update the filter based on your requirement. If you want to go with Matterhorn, yes, you can able to go. If you want to go with the ACA, whatever the filters you want, we can able to update here as well. Not only that, if you wanted to apply filter for the type wise, because when it comes to the elements available in the PDF, or it can be form fields, the most difficult part is validating links and tables. These are the most difficult part, because we wanted to keep on identifying the links. We want to keep on navigating between multiple pages. Respected to FireFlink, even verifying links, identifying the broken links are very simple. We have direct NLPs for that. And here we can also apply filter for it. And if I scroll forward, I can able to find page 1, page 2, page 3. Within page 1, I'm having 4 items, which contains 1 issue, 3 manual. You can able to see these are the issues and manuals. Similarly, let me open the page 2. Now, if you observe on the left hand side of my screen, I can able to view the original. On the right hand side of the screen, I can able to see marked, which is nothing but the same image, which human eyes find difficult to identify. We are highlighting and showing it to you. So let me read out some of the errors. The type, it says list. Text, it says list structure is not correctly tagged as an accessible list. So here we can able to clearly identify that there are some issues with the list, which is a clear failure. If you wanted to see the screenshot, you can able to find the image here. When you click on show image, we can able to see the image. And the same thing is highlighted on the left-hand side of the screen. So this is about the PDF report. Now, here my question. Is it possible for anyone to perform all 3? Meaning, is it possible to perform web, mobile, PDF, accessibility testing along with the functional testing? The answer is yes. I already triggered the execution. I can able to show you the status. Let me click on the script. Now, if you observe the script, I can able to see open browser, maximize, navigate, and report. This we already added. If you see further, I also added fetching headers. I verified whether there are issues with the headers. There are no issues as of now. I'm also performing click on login button. Respected to this script, right? I have taken another sample application. There's an application called as Shopper Stack. The actual flow of this application, once we navigate into the welcome page, we wanted to click on login page. And upon clicking on login page, we'll be landed on here, and we want to click on create page in order to see the form field for creating an account. The same step I added into the script. And if I scroll forward, you can able to see I'm transcribing the entire browser page. I'm also fetching the form fields. And if you observe, I'm generating mobile report. Along with that, I'm generating PDF report. So when it comes to FireFlink, we have the same concept, right? Single script multi-channel. With the same approach, we can also perform functional testing, performance testing, database testing. Also, we can perform accessibility testing. If you wanted to add web, mobile, everything is possible. Now, when it comes to accessibility testing, forget about FireFlink. When manually we perform accessibility testing, we find some difficulty. Example, let's say I'll manually inspect, okay, let's assume that this specific field having error responded to alt text. I wanted to raise the bug. If I wanted to raise the bug, I have to rely on some Google sheet or the Excel sheet where I'll enter the data. I'll take a separate screenshot of this specific page. I'll send it to one Google Drive or somewhere. I'll upload the data. Actually, this is a bit lengthy procedure, time consuming. I'm not saying it is not possible. We've been following this till now. It is possible, but time consuming. When it comes to FireFlink, within FireFlink, we do have a defect management tool, defect management system. We already know that. Let's say I'm already having some intentional failure here. Responded to PDF. Let me open it. The added advantage here, if I'm having failure anywhere, it will identify and show it to me. The data will be never erased. I can directly raise the bug from here. I'll click on create bug. And most importantly, not only within the FireFlink, if you wanted to use any bug tracking tool like Jira, yes, we can integrate. Whatever the feature we are having in FireFlink, everything can be integrated with FireFlink. So sorry for the network glitch. Now here, it is also providing me the steps to reproduce. It is providing the environment configuration. Assume that if I enable screenshots, if I enable video recording, when it comes to mobile, that is the difficult part. I'll have mobile separately. I wanted to connect the mobile with the system. Then I wanted to perform screenshot. I want to store it. Bit time consuming. When it comes to FireFlink, you no need to connect your mobile phone with the laptop. You keep the mobile separate and you can able to perform the execution, perform the accessibility testing. Most importantly, your screen recording, if you enable it, automatically will be attached here and we can able to raise the issue from here itself. Now, and developer can able to work on it, they can able to fix, and we can able to perform the end-to-end accessibility testing in lining with your current performance testing, current functional testing. So these are the certain benefits of accessibility testing within FireFlink. And talking about whatever the demo we have given, I know due to time constraint, we have taken very short time. Due to short time, we could not able to explain all the features. And most importantly, we have lot of exciting features within FireFlink. We are unable to cover it today. And most importantly, we have lot of surprising elements which is upcoming in the pipeline. So thank you so much, team. Let me hand it over back to Surya.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Suresh, for those insightful demo. I think we will probably take a few questions as we have some time available. So let me take up the first one. This is from Vijay. Sudhir, for this, can you please answer like what if the person has multiple disabilities, right? Then how we will use the website and how we can make sure that we are making those websites or an application accessibility compliant.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good question, Surya. And also, I've seen some very interesting questions in the comments. So, as specific to this question, right? So, WCAG compliance itself uh, caters to multiple disabilities, meaning be it visual impairments or auditory, cognitive, speech impairments, or even motor related disabilities. So, by ensuring WCAG compliance, if you are testing them thoroughly using automated tools like FireFlink and also with screen readers and stuff like that, you will be ensuring that your application is accessible to multiple disabilities. So the examples that we showed here, just for the demo purpose, was more focusing on visual disabilities. That doesn't mean that we are not catering to other disabilities as part of WCAG compliance.
Okay. And the next question is from Vishnu. Does if the website supports right the multilingual accessibility right for screen readers, how do we ensure that it is actually being pronounced properly right in different languages? Because this I remember right, we had one of the customer coming back with that, and we do have a solution with FireFlink. But I will allow you to answer more from a compliance perspective or a technology perspective on how we can handle this.
Sure. I think as part of WCAG compliance, we have two specific guidelines, which are criteria rather, which asks about language compliance to the language whichever the page is rendered in. So in HTML, we have a lang code attribute which actually defines the language of the page. So as a developer or whoever is implementing the page needs to ensure that a relevant lang code is provided to those pages. Say if I'm doing it in English, it has to have a lang equal to en as an attribute. And similarly, if it is Chinese or Spanish, something like that, it needs to have a appropriate lang code. So that way, it enables screen readers to know what language the page is in, and also announces the content accordingly. And also, one more thing we need to remember is screen readers needs to have that language pack add-on added so that it can read the content in those supported languages.
Yeah. I think I will pick up one last question. What percentage of accessibility issues, right, can realistically be caught, right, through the automation tools? Because there is always a saying that not 100% of accessibility issues can be caught using any of the automation tools, right? And you need manual testing. So, is there any percentage that you know
If you
from your
have
experience?
Yeah, if you have to tag a percentage to WCAG compliance and the coverage of the criteria, as we know, most of businesses or the mandates are around 2.1 level A and AA, not even AAA, because AAA requires a lot of accessibility enhancements and support in your application. So if you look into 2.1 or 2.2 level A and AA, so the WCAG coverage through automated tools can be around 40%. But since in FireFlink, we are not just covering the programmatical part of ensuring it, but also we are adding screen reader validation, screen reader automation support. So through FireFlink, we can achieve close to 60% through automation, and rest of the things needs to be evaluated and evaluated for human experience through digital assistive technologies.
Sure. So thanks a lot. I think just from the time constraint, so we'll probably answer the questions separately for the people who have raised, right, and that we have not been able to answer. We are going to respond that in an email. But I think thanks a lot, Suresh and Sudhir, for covering the aspects related to accessibility testing and how testing can support in customers meeting the compliance. especially SEBI and RBI guidelines are now related to accessibility. We'll have to get all the BFS and I customers certified by July 2026, and we can support this with the training. I think we do have the accessibility training. We are actually starting a dedicated training for next week. I would request all of you to subscribe. We will send out a separate email with the schedule so that you get a detailed training on the accessibility. We do have certified accessibility engineers who can also help in certain amount of manual testing along with the automation, and that's where the services part comes into picture, where we will help you with the accessibility audits and accessibility testing as part of the services. And we do have, as Suresh has given a very detailed demo on the accessibility testing, how you can do using our FireFlink platform, right, along with the functional testing. And the people who already have got FireFlink, you just have to leverage the additional features that we have with respect to the NLPs being used for FireFlink on the accessibility. So you can actually start leveraging that. So as I told, in the coming weeks, we will organize a detailed session, and my request to all of you is to use this opportunity. Thanks once again to all the audience for taking your time out and hearing out on this webinar. Thanks once again, Suresh and Sudhir, and have a great day to all of you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.